Hello, welcome. Here is a sequence for healing lower back pain. I want to pause on the word healing. So healing lower back pain, this is not something that happens overnight. It's a very slow process because those really deep muscles in your belly that need to be turned on and integral with the rest of your core are deep, and they can be asleep, and it just takes this repetitive action every day to get them to be functioning in a way that's like second nature. So once we get to the point where we can turn these muscles on as like a habit, that's when we get to the place where we're really going to heal lower back pain. The belly muscles and the back muscles are working in a synchronistic way, where if the lower belly muscles, like those really deep lower belly muscles, are not functional, the lower back is going to do the work for you, and you're still going to do those movements, but they're going to be with this pull rather than a give and a take. And so I call this part of our body our powerhouse. This is the part of the body that leads the way when we're walking. Is this part of the body that we're getting stability from when we're doing exercise, and it's the part of the body that we really want to have with that deep integrity. So the core of the body. There's a reason that we call all these exercises and all these movements core exercises, because these exercises need to come first. They're at the center of all of our other movement. So all of our movement when we're using our arms and our legs, we need to make sure the core is turned on first. So here's a little workout to turn on your core. Okay, so let's all start in a seated position. And I just want to spend a few moments just breathing into our own bodies. And I want you to notice how you can take a deep inhale and blow the belly up like a balloon breath. And then you can exhale and release that air out of your belly. So let's take an inhale and balloon the belly out. And then let's exhale and hug the belly muscles in. Inhale, balloon. And exhale, hug it in. So when you're exhaling now, I want you to be mindful of giving this little pull up at the pelvic floor. So we're going to exhale, navel towards spine, and then we're going to lift pelvic floor. We call that the Kegel, or in yoga, we call this the Mula Bandha. So inhale, balloon. Exhale, hug it up and in. Knit the lower ribs and give yourself a little bit of a chin tuck. So we're kind of creating this suction. We're creating a suction where the powerhouse is engaged and that we have integrity so that we can move our limbs with more control. Inhale, balloon. Exhale, hug it in. Okay, so this place right here, feel the core. This is the place we're going to do our movement from. So we're going to suck up and in. We're sealing, it's like we're zipping up a zipper of the very superficial muscles, not superficial, the very deep muscles of our belly, okay? So let's inhale, reach the arms up and over the head. So getting this movement with this practice of breath is really great practice to notice, can you keep that integrity in the belly with this movement? Inhale, balloon belly, lift the arms. And then exhale, tighten, knit the lower ribs, plug up and in at the pelvic floor, hands go to the heart, feel that pressure between the palms, feel the shoulders release, feel the elbows beam away, and close your eyes and notice that suction in your core. Inhale, balloon. Exhale, press the hands, knit the ribs. Pelvic floor lifts up and in. One more breath. Inhale, balloon. Find that dichotomy, that dual action. And then exhale, tuck the chin, knit the ribs, pull up and in at the pelvic floor. Okay, so another action to that really plug in this belly is a simple cat-cow. So when we're cat-cowing, a lot of people think this is about the spine. This is about plugging your abs in. Inhale, keep the abs plugged in. Exhale, lift up and in, find more space in the belly. Roll the shoulders forward, tuck the chin. Inhale, beam your heart forward. My belly is still plugged in. I'm still lifting up from my pelvic floor. So really subtle movement, but even something like this can be strengthening your ab muscles. Listen for the sound of the breath. Let's do 3 more like this, really slow. We want to make sure that the abs are working. We want it to be second nature. Last one. Great, so we got a little bit of awareness and a little bit of breath exercise for that. Now I want us to stand up with this strap. We're gonna put the strap above our knees, somewhere in your mid-thigh. And go ahead and stand up and start to turn on or floss out the hip points. So we're gonna stand in this little squat. And when we're in the squat, we wanna feel the resistance of our strap. So we're sitting ourselves down and we're sticking our bum back. But we're also getting a little bit of a pelvic tilt forward and extension in the spine. So there's lots going on here. This is a very complex movement, and it's a movement that most people do incorrectly, myself included. While I watch the videos, while I'm talking to you, I am being very mindful of that my pubic bone is slightly forward, but I'm still getting that extension in my spine. I'm not rounding my spine to get here, but I'm doing a very subtle pulling up of my pubic bone so that I can keep this integrity between my hip points. So feel your hip points and feel your lower ribs. That's the area we're trying to engage as we're getting extension in the torso. Now I'm going to keep my hands on my hips and I'm going to rock one knee in and then I'm going to let that knee rock out. I'm going onto the inside edge of my foot and the outside edge of my foot. Getting this extra resistance with the band is I'm really feeling this resistance in where my femur is connecting into my hip socket and that ball and socket joint. So I'm kind of flossing this joint out and I'm using my core while I'm doing this exercise. I'm gonna do 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And I'm gonna go to the other side. I'm gonna give you a different viewpoint. So I'm still hugging up and in of my belly. I'm gonna do 10. So I'm rocking my knee out and then bringing it back in, feeling that resistance from this band. Inside edge of the foot, outside edge of the foot. Let's do 5 more. Okay, now we're gonna stand up, and we're gonna squeeze our butt, and we're gonna open up our front body, opening up the chest, knit the ribs back together, hands face forward. Let's sit back into a squat, and we're gonna do a little crab walk. So I want this crab walk to be really slow and being really mindful of lifting pubic bone up, knitting ribs down, so you're getting this kind of crunch, but you're not rounding your spine. So we're articulating this really subtle movement of our upper body. The legs are staying nice and low. Sit down as low as you can, and you're making sure your feet are staying parallel. Strong breath. You have your Ujjayi breath. If you've practiced yoga, you know about Ujjayi breath. We're letting our breath go up and down our trachea. That victorious sound associated with the breath. I'm going really slow and I'm taking little baby steps. This is not a speed contest, and it's not how big of a step you can go either. We want to feel your powerhouse getting more and more integrity. Hugging up and in with the navel. Let's go one more this direction. And then we'll end over here. Feel your hips engage. Exhale, sit down a little bit deeper. And then inhale, come up, squeeze your bum. Okay, now we're gonna go down. Let's actually keep the strap on. Do I want the strap on? Now actually let's take the strap off. Because instead, so we were just doing that outward feedback with the strap. Now I want the ball in between the knees so we can get that inner feedback. So first just lay back on your forearms and notice how we can tent the lower belly, or the lower back that is, or we can hug it in. So we're gonna do this little pelvic tilt. We're gonna hug it in, squeeze the ball, inhale, tent. Exhale, hug it in. Inhale, tent. So when we're doing this, where we're hugging it in and sealing the lower back, I want you to be really mindful of the space between your navel and your pubic bone. And you're zipping up from that spot. That's where you're engaging. And to get your belly to seal that much, you have to seal your pelvic floor. And we're keeping that seal whenever we're doing core exercises or squatting or any kind of vigorous activity, going on a hike. So feel your very, very, very deep core muscles, like they're like this string, and that's what's pulling your pubic bone in. Let's do 2 more. Okay, let's lower ourselves all the way down. Let's bring the legs up and make some circles with the ankles. Keep squeezing the ball between the knees. Okay, and now we're gonna squeeze the ball between the legs. We're just gonna do like 20 pulses. So we're flexing the feet, balls between the knees, hands are down by the side body, and we're gonna pulse for 20, 19, 18, 17, squeeze the hips and the lower ribs together. Feel the contraction in your core. Feel those inner thighs fire up. Maybe you put your hands on your inner thighs so you can feel that. Keep the contraction. 5, 3, 2, 1. Grab the ball, set the feet down, clunk the knees into each other. Great. Now we're going to put the ball between the ankles. We're going to keep a 90-degree angle in our knees, our hips, and our ankles. And then we're going to slowly tap the ball down. Inhale, bring it back up. Exhale, tap down. Inhale, bring it up. Release any tension in the shoulders, neck, and jaw. Inhale up. Exhale down. Good. 6. And 3. And 2. And 1 more. Okay, straighten the legs, squeeze the ball. Now we're going to pulse the ball with the ankles for the count of 20. 20, 19, 18, 17, 16. Flex the feet, engage the quads, feel your femur plugging down into your hip socket. Squeeze the belly in and up for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bend the knees, grab the ball, set the ball off to the side. Okay, the next one we're going to do is to feel a little bit of a stretch and a strengthening. So because this is very beginning phases of engaging the belly, I want to make sure that the shoulders and the neck stay down on the ground. Let's flex the feet. We're going to drop one leg and pulse the leg that's up toward the face. We're going pulse, pulse, flexing the feet, pulse, pulse. So the legs are super engaged, and maybe you feel a little stretch. You're keeping your belly super engaged, so your belly is doing this action for you. The belly is what's lowering the leg down. Let's do 4 more on each side. And 1 more. And the knees come into the chest. Rock the knees in little circles, one direction and the other direction. Okay, now we're going to sit on our hands, have the legs up. Actually, let's put that ball back in between the ankles and sit on the hands. And this time, let's point the toes. And we're going to lower the legs as low as they can go, where the belly is staying engaged and we're not tenting our lower back. And then inhaling, the legs come back up. Exhale, lower. Inhale, bring them up. We're going to exhale to lower for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Point the toes. Inhale, bring them up. Exhale, lower. So if you feel like your belly is kind of is weakening about here, and you're doing the arch of the lower back, stop here. So you're only going down as far as feels good, as far as where you still feel like you have integrity. And your hands are here to help that tenting of the lower back. We're trying to keep the lower back sealed, keep squeezing that ball. Let's do 5 more. We're going down really slow. And lifting up, squeezing the ball. 4 more. If you're feeling it in your hip flexors, turn your toes out. And bend your knees in. Great. Let's do some little circles, or you can let the knees drop to each side. Okay, let's roll over to our side. Okay, so I'm on my left side. I'm going to prop my body into the back of my mat, so my body is lined up with the back of my mat. And I'm going to pitch my legs forward so my toes are at that front corner of my mat. And then I'm keeping extension in my shoulder and my elbow, supporting my head with my hand. I'm going to flex my top leg, and I'm going to kick it forward, and then I'm going to kick it back. I'm trying to keep the hip in the same line, so I'm not lifting the ankle up and back. I'm going to keep my top right arm in front of me to stabilize my weight so I'm not rocking forward or back. And let's add a little dynamic movement here. We're going to kick, kick, and then we're going to kick, kick behind. Kick, kick, and kick, kick. Really just practicing staying stable. Not so much about the range of motion, but how stable your body is as you're lifting up and kicking this top leg. I'm being extra careful not to kick the glass behind me. I'm not really sure how far away that is. Let's do 1 more. Okay, and now without dropping the leg, let's make little circles. Little circles, really focusing on slow movement. Point the toes down. So you can see your foot. So you can see I'm looking down at my foot without trying to bend my neck. I'm not moving my neck, I'm just looking down with my eyes. And then switch the direction. And so I'm still being very engaged with my belly here, still bringing pubic bone slightly forward, still trying to knit those lower ribs in. It's a work in progress. It's constant focus on what we're doing here. Toes are pointing down. For 3, and 2, and 1. Soften the knees, bring the knees toward like draw your knees up. Give your hip a little massage. Okay, we're gonna do the clamshells with the ankles lifted. So heels together, toes apart, knees are tracking in the same plane, hip is not dropping forward or back. I'm just gonna do 10, 9, 8, really feel your leg engaged, feel your belly engaged, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, and 2, and 1. Nice, let's extend the legs out again. Now we're gonna keep our legs a little bit more extended where they're out from the same plane as your back. So your whole body's up against the back of your mat, hand in front. We're gonna point the toes up and flex the toes down for 10, 9. Low, really focusing on the lowering action, going slow. And 2 more. All right, nice. Let's roll over onto our bellies, taking a little Sphinx pose before we get that other side. Stretching out your belly, feeling the length between your pubic bone and your lower ribs now. We're getting that opposite action. Squeeze the bum, open through the heart space. A couple more breaths. And then lowering your chest down, hands underneath the shoulders. Squeeze your belly, push yourself back into a child's pose. And then transition from child's pose over to the other side. Okay, so we're extending our body so that our back is lined up with the back edge of the mat. We're going to pitch the legs forward about a 30-degree angle so that the toes are out from the corner, out at the corner. All right, what did we do first? First, we had our leg, so our ankle is the same height as our hip, and we're going to kick the leg forward and kick the leg back. I have a flexed foot, trying to keep length in the back of my leg, kicking it forward and back. And I'm going to do that dynamic movement where I'm going to do a little kick, kick, and a little kick, 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 kick. Keep that front arm stabilizing so that you're not moving your upper body as very much. I mean, that's the goal. You know, every time we do it, we get better and better. But we're still engaging through the belly. Let's do 2 more. Okay, and now we're going to pause. Legs are stacked. We're going to make circles. Point the toes down, 10 circles in each direction. Looking at your toes with the eyes, not moving your head or your neck. 5 more this direction. I'm still sealing up and in with my belly and keep mimicking that action of a crunch. Hugging up and in. Hugging up and in. I think of it like this harvesting of my vital energy rather than like a leaking of it out. And then switching the directions, toes are still facing down. All right, last one. Last circle. Collect the the legs together. Draw the knees up and give your outer hip a little massage. We're going to do the clamshell where the ankles lift, the bottom knee stays down. Keep stacking the hips. So you're raising and lowering the knee, keeping your heels together and your toes flexed out. Feel your outer hip working here. You want to get the outer hip engaged. We're getting all the sides of the pelvis turned on in this movement practice. We'll do 7, 6. Make sure you're not falling back or forward. 3 and 2 and 1. And lower the legs. Let's extend the legs out so that your whole body is lined up with the back edge of your mat. And we're gonna point the toes up and flex the toes down. Point up, flex down for 10. And 5, and 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. Nice. Okay, we're gonna roll over onto our belly, taking that Sphinx pose, nice and slow transitions. Sphinx is where the elbows are underneath the shoulders. Forearms are parallel together. Spread your fingers out. Drop your navel and then open up your chest to face forward. Take deep belly breath and notice your body move involuntarily with that breath. Just notice that ebb and flow of the breath in the body. You can roll your shoulders. You can roll your head. One more deep breath here. Squeeze the navel up and in. And then on an exhale, you're going to start to push your weight back, taking like a tabletop type position. But before we get into tabletop, let's first just set our knees down. Knees are down underneath the hips. And then we're going to walk the hands out into this little puppy dog position where we're dropping the chest down. Getting that nice arch in the upper back. Getting that traction in the front body. And then engaging to come up, engage the belly to come up. Let's sit back into a child's pose, drop the forehead. And then rolling the body up into that Halloween cat type position where you're rounding your spine and then arching the spine in that cow position. And rounding the spine and arching the spine. And then neutral spine. Let's come into a seated position. In our seated position, I want to make sure that we can still do that dynamic movement so that the feet are crossed. And we're going to do little circles. We're engaging the belly in these circles. So when you're doing this backward motion, you're hugging, zipping up and in at the pelvic floor. Inhaling, opening through the chest. Exhaling, engaging belly. Belly's still engaged, but I'm opening up through my chest and I'm draining the air out. So keep doing these videos until these subtle movements become second nature and become almost easy. Okay, and then sitting with the hands pressed together. Feel the palms pressed, thumbs resting at your breastbone, elbows pointing away. Soften the eyes. Feel where your breath is in your body. Notice, follow the breath with your inner eye. And then start to come to a more natural breathing. I want you to be mindful throughout the day today of when you're engaging your belly. When you're exhaling, are you tightening? When you're inhaling, are you opening? So that you're allowing your body to be this vessel to receive and to give. And we're finding this dynamic dance within our body, within our daily movements. And then bow your head down. Thank yourself for taking care of your mind, body, and spirit. Thank you.